Welcome to a look into the unknown. Tonight, we're going someplace dark, a place that people talk about in hushed tones, Skinwalker Ranch.
A place where reality itself seems to waver, like a thin veil between our world and
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah, exactly. So tonight we're diving deep into the documented occurrences at Skinwalker Ranch. Skinwalker Ranch, it's in Utah. Yeah, we're trying to make sense of it all, trying to piece together the puzzle using reports, investigations, all those threads that make up the mystery.
Right. And for anyone who's not familiar, Skinwalker Ranch covers about 194 hectares. That's almost 2 square kilometers. It's in Uintah County, Utah, near these towns, Roosevelt and Vernal. The isolation itself kind of adds to the creepiness, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
even the name Skinwalker, it's taken straight from Ute tradition, and it refers to this malevolent being, a shapeshifter, wielding dark magic. Kind of sets the stage, doesn't it?
Definitely. It's like we're stepping into a place where the rules don't quite apply, where nature itself is distorted.
Yeah. It's creepy. And, the modern story of Skinwalker Ranch, it all began in the fall of 1994. Terry and Gwen Sherman bought the place for cattle ranching. Seemed like a peaceful life.
A dream turned into a nightmare.
Exactly. By 1996, they were reporting all this paranormal activity, like relentless, terrifying stuff. They actually wanted to get rid of the ranch. Imagine that. You buy your dream home and it turns out to be a haunted nightmare.
Well, that's where NIDS comes in, the National Institute for Discovery Science. It was a private group, scientists, investigators, they all wanted to study these events scientifically. They bought the ranch in 1996 from the Shermans for about $200,000.
Okay, so that's when things start to get really interesting.
Yeah, because this wasn't just some ghost stories anymore. This was a serious attempt to document everything.
And then in 2002, a journalist named George Knapp from the Las Vegas Mercury, he got access to the ranch, thanks to NIDS. He wrote this 2-part article. It came out in November 2002. That was when the public really started to pay attention.
Right. It was a big deal. And it led to the book, Hunt for the Skinwalker. That came out in 2005. Knapp wrote it with Colm Kelleher. He's a parapsychologist working with NIDs. The book is basically the go-to source for anyone interested in the ranch.
But here's the thing, it gets even creepier. The book actually refers to an older report, the Utah UFO Display, a scientist's report. That was from 1974, written by Frank Salisbury and Joseph Jr. Hicks. And guess what? They were already documenting UFO sightings and weird events in the same area. Uintah County, it's like Skinwalker Ranch has always been strange.
Yeah, always been strange. And the Utah UFO Display, it's got some wild stories. It talks about cattle mutilations, animals found dead, but not just dead, mutilated. Organs removed, no blood, no footprints. Like, how did they even get there? And then there are the UFO sightings, orbs, strange lights, large creatures with red eyes. Bullets didn't even stop them. It's like something out of a horror movie.
Seriously. And there was even talk of objects emitting harmful magnetic fields. This wasn't just spooky stuff, this was potentially dangerous.
And then John B. Alexander gets involved, a retired U.S. Army colonel. He was working with NIDS. He saw this whole thing as a legitimate scientific investigation, which, it kind of was.
Right.
They were trying to collect data, make sense of it all.
Right. And then there's Stephen Reinhardt, a radio host from Utah. He visited the ranch in 2006. He said he took photographs and found huge footprints in the snow, 43 centimeters. Like, what kind of animal makes tracks that big?
It's all very unsettling, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the ranch has this long history of strange events, and they don't seem to be random. They happen in waves, periods of intense activity followed by quiet periods. And then this makes it even harder to study. It's like the ranch is playing games with us.
Right. Imagine trying to research something that only appears when it wants to and then vanishes without a trace. And to make things even creepier, NIDS was super secretive about their work. They had security measures in place. George Knapp actually talked about it on Coast to Coast AM in 2006. He said the strange events had picked up again, and they needed the security to keep things under control.
Yeah, it was pretty clear that something was going on, something they couldn't explain. So let's get into the specifics. The types of activity reported at Skinwalker Ranch. There are so many strange stories. Where do we even begin?
Let's start with the UFOs, unidentified vehicles. One story that always freaks me out is Sherry's account. She saw what she thought was a camper van. It was near the Sherman's entrance, white front, red rear lights. But it wasn't on the ground, it was floating. Then it just flew away.
Now that's interesting. There are reports of UFOs in Brazil called chupas. And they're described in a similar way. Could there be a connection? It's spooky to think about.
And then there's Mrs. Sherman's story. She saw a black triangular object. It was hovering above her car, like 20 feet in the air. She said it looked like a stealth fighter, a F-117. Then poof, it was gone.
So we've got strange vehicles in the sky. And then we've got the orbs.
Ah, yeah, the orbs. Those are freaky. Knapp and Kelleher, they saw glowing orbs, all different colors. Orange, blue, sometimes basketball-sized. Some were even transparent, like you could see something swirling inside. And these orbs, they weren't harmless. They messed with electronics, lights would flicker and die. And in some cases, animals were found dead, carbonized or rotted. It's like the orbs were draining the life out of them.
It's definitely creepy. And then there are the even bigger orbs, the huge orange circles in the sky. People say you could see the blue sky right through them, like they weren't solid.
Yeah.
Sometimes they were really smaller orbs, other objects. It's like they were giving birth to something.
Okay, that's just too weird. Now we're getting into the really scary stuff. The cattle mutilations. And the creatures.
Right. The Shermans reported numerous cattle mutilations, and they were all similar. Ears, eyes, udders, genital, all removed. Surgically. No blood, no signs of struggle.
And there's one story that's especially chilling. The Shermans went out to get some food. They came back and 4 of their bulls were gone, vanished. But then they found them inside a locked trailer, mutilated. How did they get in there? Who did this to them? It's impossible.
Right. It's like something or someone was playing with them, toying with them. And then there are the creature sightings. People have seen things that look like dogs, hyenas, but they're not quite right. There's something off about them, something unsettling.
Yeah, and there's that story from the Shermans' first day on the ranch. They saw a giant wolf attacking a calf. Mr. Sherman and his father, they tried to stop it, hitting it, shooting it with a .357. But nothing worked. The wolf didn't even react. There was no blood, no wounds. Finally, after more shots, the wolf let go of the calf, looked at them, and walked away. They followed its tracks, but the tracks just ended, like it vanished into thin air.
That's the one that gets to me. The wolf that couldn't be killed and then just disappeared. What was that thing? Was it even a wolf?
I don't know. There have also been sightings of Bigfoot-like creatures and even a semi-transparent entity, like something out of a ghost story. But this wasn't just a fleeting glimpse. People have described it in detail. It's like something from another dimension.
It's like the ranch is a portal to somewhere else, someplace we don't understand. And the strangeness wasn't just outside. There were reports of poltergeist activity inside the Sherman's house.
Yeah, inside the house. Banging sounds, doors opening and closing on their own, objects disappearing and reappearing, classic haunted house stuff. But amplified, like it was on steroids.
It's like whatever was happening on the ranch, it seeped into the house too. There were also reports of strange sounds coming from underground, like heavy machinery, voices, and the Sherman said they detected radiation signals. What was going on down there?
It's almost too much to think about. Like the ranch itself was alive, and not in a good way.
And then there are the physical changes to the land. People have reported seeing piles of debris appear out of nowhere. Dirt, grass, ice. And then the crop circles and the glowing grass. It's like the environment itself was being manipulated.
Okay, so we have all these strange and terrifying events. What are the possible explanations?
Well, some people think it's all a hoax. Maybe the Shermans made it up, or maybe NIDS was involved, or the reporters. It's possible. But Knapp and Kelleher, they're adamant that it's real. They say NIDS conducted thorough investigations. And the Shermans, they actually lost money because of the cattle mutilations. Why would they make that up?
Right, it doesn't make sense. Another theory is mass hallucination. Maybe everyone was seeing things. But that doesn't explain the physical evidence, the crop circles, the dead animals. It's not just in people's heads.
Exactly. And there's the theory that the government is doing secret testing, maybe some new technology. But that doesn't explain everything either. The orbs, the creatures, the poltergeist activity, it's too much to be just government experiments.
Right. So some people have turned to more, I guess you could say, spiritual explanations, like maybe it's a Navajo curse involving skinwalkers. The Ute people have stories about these malevolent beings, shapeshifters. And there's this ancient cave with petroglyphs. Supposedly, the ranch is right in the path of these skinwalkers.
It's a creepy thought, like something ancient is at work here. And then there are the theories about alternate realities, parallel universes, dimensions. It sounds like science fiction, but maybe it's not. Maybe the ranch is a point where these realities intersect.
Yeah, and some people even believe that our understanding of reality is just plain wrong. Maybe we're living in a simulation or a hologram. It's a mind-blowing idea, But it could explain some of the impossible things happening at Skinwalker Ranch.
Maybe. It's hard to say. And then there's the will-o'-the-wisp theory. You know, those mysterious lights that sometimes appear in swamps. Well, the Uinta Basin has a lot of gilsonite. It's a type of asphalt. And it could create strange atmospheric effects.
But come on, glowing swamp gas, that doesn't explain the spaceships, the creatures, the cattle mutilations. It's just not enough.
Nope, not even close. So we're left with more questions than answers. What is really happening at Skinwalker Ranch? Is it paranormal, extraterrestrial, interdimensional? We may never know.
And that's the scariest part. It's this place of mystery, of fear, where the boundaries between our world and something else are blurred. What's out there, what's lurking in the shadows.
We may never know, but we can keep searching, keep asking questions, keep looking into the unknown.
If you liked the video, share it, leave us a like, and subscribe to our channel, A Look Into the Unknown.